So we brought the table and chairs home, and almost immediately, within a day, I started working on the legs, cleaning up the legs and sanding down the legs. The rounded part of the leg is the hardest part. I started with 60 grit, then 80 grit, then 150 grit, then 220 grit sandpaper. And by the time I was done, I had the legs looking pretty good. So the next thing to do was to get the table ready for its sanding. And just as with the legs, I started with 80 grit, or 60 grit rather, then 80 grit, then 150 grit, then 220 grit. Here you can see the table's just starting to show some really good beauty, and then here I'm sanding down even more. It's almost finished being sanded here. And then finally, this is what the table looks like when it's completely sanded down. So the next thing I needed to do is take my compressor and just completely blow out all the grain and sawdust that might be caught in the grain. Also, I took a tack cloth and I wiped it to get the last bit of any sawdust that you can't see. And it was time to put on the first coat of tung oil. And I put the tung oil on really liberally. This is the first coat. It's going to be 4 coats of tung oil, so here I am putting on the first coat of the tung oil, and you can really see how the table pops when you put the oil on it. This is after 1 coat of tung oil, and it looks good, but what I'll do after 2 coats of tung oil, I take some 600 grit sandpaper and I sand down the roughness of the tung oil, so it's really a nice smooth finish. So this is after 3rd coat of tung oil, and then once again I'm going to sand down the table, and you can see the white residue, that's the tung oil. And this is after the 4th coat, and it came out really nice. And here it is in our dining room. These are the chairs that we had prior to from another set. So this is what the table looked like when I started, and this is how it finished. It came out really nice. I'm really happy with it.